This is untangling. It's actually an introduction to untangling. So
Yeah.
that's the fun thing today. And this is this is the how to participate, which we could have explained already. Use the chat, select all panelists and attendees if you want everyone to be able to see your comments. And if you want to speak, you can say so in the chat or raise your hand. We'll have a chance later for that. Now, today we have a lot of fun things we want to share with you. And the very first thing is this quote. And that is, in the very places where your life feels most tangled, there the treasure of your unlived life is waiting to be released. Let's just pause and take that in. In the very places where your life feels hard, challenged, stuck, impossible, those are the very places where there is treasure. And what that is the treasure of your unlived life, your what's possible that for you that isn't possible now. That's the place we go. So that's the sort of our starting maxim for our webinar today.
And one of the things that's most exciting for us is that it doesn't matter how long it's been stuck, because it is still possible for something to move forward, for something to live that was, it's just kind of stopped. It's kind of in suspended animation, we could say.
Yeah, you might be as old as we are.
And we're still, even older.
and even older. It is possibly older than we are. And still have had something happen so long ago. And it's still possible for something to really hugely shift, for untangling to happen. All right. So we're suggesting that if you feel blocked, if you feel tied up in knots, if you feel limited, if you battle with feeling inadequate or feeling unworthy, and if you long for something that feels impossible to fulfill, and either all the time or part of the time, you're in the right place. Because we felt that way. And that's where this work came from.
So today, we're going to be doing a few things. We're going to be sharing some why are tangles so hard to change? What is it that makes them so difficult? Why is it that every time you try to do something, it just makes it more stuck? It actually does. It's like you are inside this situation where everything and anything that you do just makes it more difficult to get out of that situation.
And if you're wondering, the definition of a tangle is basically that. It's a kind of life problem where everything you try to get out of it hasn't helped, and it's not going to.
Oh, isn't that delightful?
There's good news.
Right. There really is, yeah. There's honestly.
Good news. Yes, but that is what a tangle is. That's what we mean by a tangle. Because some problems, even though they're tough, can be solved by doing things straightforwardly.
Yeah. Yeah. You get good information, you work at it, and it works out. You know, you can go forward. Tangles, even with all the best information in the world and with really good strategies, and you work your whatever out off on it, and it just makes it worse.
Yeah. So there's good news if you have something like that in your life.
Yeah. Actually,
it's great news. The second thing we're going to do today is you will be learning how to approach your tangles in a way that brings a sense of spaciousness and hope.
And that's a big thing. Like, it's not just that you can start untangling your tangle, but actually there is a whole way of holding it and approaching it that makes a difference. That makes it possible to, to even get excited. Oh, good, there's something really impossible in my life. Great. I've got a real opportunity for a whole new openness, a whole new part of my life can potentially open and I can live that whole thing that I just couldn't live for years and years and years.
We think we're weird because we get excited when things are hard and impossible, but you could be weird like us too. And the third thing we're going to do today is actually give you 3 questions. We hope they'll be questions that are new to you to ask of your tangle so you can begin to shift your relationship with it from burden to curiosity. And of course, we're going to tell you something about our upcoming class. We hope you'll be able to join us in that class because there's so much more we'd love to be able to help you with than we can today. But we're going to give you as much as possible today. And so here's another key question that we have for you. Can what feels impossible become possible?
That's not one of the 3.
No. This one's extra.
This one's for free. Yeah. Right. And can what feels impossible become possible? Absolutely. I'm going to answer that right now. Yes.
The answer is
absolutely. Because what was impossible was indeed impossible. It's not, it just feels impossible. What is impossible become possible?
Yeah.
And that impossible is that magical place where transformation can occur, and that living forward becomes possible right at that place. That's why we get so excited about impossible, is that it's at that very place where something is impossible that it can become possible. That is so.
We love this. Yes. Now, let's tell you a little bit about us. And by the way, I don't think we introduced ourselves, but I guess our names show up on the screen. So hi, I'm Anne.
And I'm Barbara.
And this work came from a challenging time in our own lives when we were both focusing teachers of many years. And even though we'd been practicing, each of us practicing focusing for years, we were teaching focusing, we were facing tough life challenges, very, very tough life challenges. And focusing as we knew it then wasn't doing it for us. And so rather than looking somewhere else, I think because we were together, and I give credit to Barbara because of her brilliance and persistence, we found in the roots of focusing, in the depths of focusing, the answers that we needed, the new methods and processes that we needed in order to resolve and release these tough life challenges. Mine was an addiction to alcohol.
And I was, really, really seriously depressed, seriously to the point of suicidal, basically. It was pretty bad. And that's tough.
That is.
And I had been focusing for, 10 years at that point. You'd been focusing for about 20.
Oh, yes.
Something like that.
And yeah, more than that. And we were, as it happened, right, as luck would have it or something, we were just about to teach together in the UK for 3 weeks. So I had just been confronted with having to face the fact that I was using alcohol addictively. I got the courage to confess it to Barbara because it was a very shameful feeling. And then we started, she said, well, let's do focusing. And focusing hadn't worked, but we found together what did work. And the methods that we developed then were amazing enough that people immediately, when they got an inkling of what we were doing, they immediately wanted us to tell them what we were learning. And a year later, we were doing week-long retreats in the new method.
Mhm.
And we have been ever since. So it's, it's an
That's
amazing thing.
25 years ago.
And my alcohol addiction did release. Barbara's suicidal depression did release. And many, many other shifts have happened for us, for us, because basically what we're showing you is something for which we were the first guinea pigs. Everything we teach in our method called untangling, it worked first for us, and then for the people we showed it to directly, and people in our workshops and retreats. It's all been tried out by a lot of people, and we're still doing it ourselves.
Absolutely.
So that's our story.
Okay.
So what is a tangle?
Big question. What is a tangle?
And do you have one? We're going to get to whether you have one in a minute.
Right. I don't know anybody who doesn't, but there you go.
I think anybody who wants to be on this call has a tangle.
That's probably hasn't.
Yeah.
We have somebody who's raised their hand. Shall we have a wee chat?
Okay, I have to come back from screen sharing, which takes me a little time.
Okay.
And let's see what the
Becky.
chats are. So Becky, do you want to talk? She has to accept our offer to talk. That's what happens when you raise your hand. We let you talk. No?
Yeah, I just
Hi. Go ahead.
Hi. Before you start, that there's 2 questions I think would be good to answer in the chat.
There's 2 questions.
To answer the questions in the chat. All right.
Okay. Is it possible to have a copy of the slides? And I'm curious too if we will get the recording, only because then I can set down my pen and attend better with my whole body.
You'll get the slides, you'll get the recording, no problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Becky, for taking care of everybody. All right.
Okay.
Back to the slides.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay. And what is a tangle? And oh, right. What is a tangle? And
what is a tangle?
We think you've got at least one. And one of the questions people often ask us is, do I have only one? No, you probably have a number of them.
Some of them will be interrelated, intertangled.
Maybe even all of them, right?
Maybe even all of them.
Yeah.
But there are, there are kind of key tangles, and there are less difficult tangles. And
if you confront it all the time, that's probably a key one. And also, does it matter which one? No.
Nope.
No. So later today, we're going to have an exercise where we have you spend time with one of your tangles. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you start. Every starting place is fine. Anyway, what is a tangle? Well, it's when something in your life has become so stuck that you can't think your way out of it and you can't act your way out of it. We call that a tangle. So another thing about tangles is that they always have more than one part involved. And so if you've got something going on in your life where you're aware that there's more than one part, that is a tangle. Like recently someone wrote in the weekly tips that she wakes up every morning in tension about whether she'll eat too much that day, and something in her really worried about that and something else wanting to do it. That's a tangle. And I remember with my drinking, it was like that too. Every day I'd have this almost like an inner war going on. No, I really shouldn't drink today. I don't have a drinking problem, so why would I worry about drinking? Well, yeah, no, actually, maybe you do, so there'd be this back and forth all day until finally I'd be on my way to the liquor store at 5 p.m. and then everything would get peaceful. We call that being hijacked by one of the parts. That happens in tangles too. One part of you hijacks you and the other ones. So, yeah.
We have a question in the chat from Michael. And he asks, do you, Barbara and Anne, still have tangles?
Yes, we do.
Yes, in an interesting kind of way. It's like some of our really big tangles are really sorted. They have released, and we live in a whole different way than we used to.
Oh, yes.
And we still find places in us where there are parts that are in conflict. Some of it's relatively minor, and then we find that, oh, actually this particular tangle is going down deeper, even deeper than we had discovered before. And I mean, things can shift really quite quickly now. So where it used to take like months for things to shift, now it's like 3 sessions, 4 sessions, maybe 5 sessions, and a whole big area gets shifted really quickly and really deeply. I mean, if I can say, Anne, there's one that you're working on right now that is really going very, very deep.
She's my focusing partner. Yes. Yes, that's right. I mean, I think I'm able to go really deep with this issue that it hasn't been a lifelong issue.
Well,
I think it emerged.
The outer issue hasn't been a lifelong issue, but the underneath core of it has certainly been a lifelong thing.
Right, but it's manifested in different ways. So, Barbara's mentioned 2 things. One is that the ones we still have are kind of light, they change more quickly. The second one is we can go deeper than we could before and change more long-lasting things at a deeper level. And the third reason we still have tangles is because we're growing, we're going beyond what we could before, and then we meet new edges, right?
Yeah.
I never knew before I had a tangle about, having employees and a business, before I had that. So that's 3 reasons why we still have tangles. I think it would be really weird if we told you we had no more tangles, but we can say that we live a lot of our life free, and to us the untangled state is a state of free to
be able to interact in the world, free to be able to feel our own lives as they are happening. One of the things that it stops when you get in a tangle is that you aren't free to actually experience your own life as it is happening. Bits of it get numbed out, pushed away, and that's a whole different thing, to be able to actually notice in the living of your life when something isn't fully free as well. That also happens. That's really kind of very cool, actually.
That is very cool. Well, we wanted to take you through, first we're going to say a few more things about tangles. Maybe we've said this already. Inside a tangle, your possibilities are limited. It may feel you have none at all. Maybe you've given up on that whole thing ever changing, but you're still suffering. And when you're in a tangle, you can't imagine what would bring true relief and living forward.
Before we go on, I just want to kind of catch up with the chat. There's lots going on in the chat. Do all your tangles seem to point towards the same core? No. There seem to be only a few cores, but not necessarily the exact same core. So there's that. Do you need to be proficient with focusing for the untangling to work? Well, it sure helps. I gotta say, it helps a lot.
Mm-hmm. We'd recommend it. I mean, our course is open to people who haven't had focusing training, and we'll do our best to take you through exercises in a way that will work for you. And it'll work better for people who know focusing already.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Haya says something. So how much in a tangle is outside problem and how much is outside in a difficult situation? How much is outside the problem and how much is sort of from the tangle? It's hard to say.
Hard
I
to
mean,
say.
yeah, I mean, some will be both. And I know that as the tangle shifts, how you can deal with the outside problem also shifts.
The outside, this is not just about your inside, because we are in an interactive relationship. Inside and outside are not that significant. When we do untangling, the whole world shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one woman who was able to get pregnant because of doing untangling, and has a baby now. I mean, that really changed the outer world.
Yeah.
So many things can change. But when you're inside a tangle, it's really hard to tell. So if you try to be able to tell how much is me and how much is them, it's hard. So
It's not just hard, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's one of those impossible things.
Right. Okay, shall we go on?
Yeah, let's do
I really
it.
appreciate, I can't see the chat when the slideshow is on, so really appreciate your bringing that in, Barbara.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got the chat.
So
I'm on it.
We're gonna do a little exercise for finding a tangle for today. Then we'll talk a little about that, hear from you, and then we'll do a longer exercise that has the 3 new questions in it. So for finding a tangle, our recommendation is to look for an area in your life, a situation or a set of situations, and we're going to give you 4 things. One is that something's impossible to do. So it might be impossible to make that phone call, or impossible to find a good relationship, or impossible to
get pregnant.
There you go. So something's impossible to do, and whether it's in your power or not, right? Another one is something's impossible to feel. Impossible to feel safe. Impossible to feel trusting. Impossible to feel confident.
Loved.
Impossible to feel. Impossible to feel loved. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a hard one for lots of people.
Now, as we go through these, why don't you all be looking inside, right? So we're going to go slowly and leave some pauses. The first 2 are something's impossible to do and something's impossible to feel. And just maybe have a piece of paper, make a few notes. Anywhere in your life, what comes, right? What comes when we say something's impossible to do? Something's impossible to feel. We'll go on. What about impossible to believe? Impossible to believe I can do it. Impossible to believe that others will help me. Impossible to believe that
I'm an okay person.
Impossible to believe this is such a world in which I can get what I really need.
Deborah just asked, do these 3 things need to be directly related in this exercise? No.
No, thanks for asking. No, these are just evocative. So you might, for one of these, you might get nothing. And for another one, there's a lot. So we're just offering these as, you know, as a way of finding something to spend some time with in the second exercise today. And no, it's not that they relate to each other. Oh, they could,
yeah,
but not necessarily. All right. And the 4th one is something is impossible to have. That also might be a loving, steady relationship, or a career that fulfills me. Yeah.
Enough money to pay the bills.
A place that really feels like home.
Mm-hmm.
So notice how, in order to find these places where something's impossible, we're also talking about what you want, the feelings of longing, or we're also talking about places in you that feel some suffering, some lack. You know, all of that is good. All of that is important. So let's pause a little more, because all we need is one. And so if you found several, maybe pause and sense which one has the most charge for you today, the most energy, or feels the most prominent.
Do we have time for people to share a little bit if they want?
You bet we do.
Okay. So if you'd like to share with us.
Okay, and Becky, would you like to share verbally? Go right ahead.
I don't think I raised my hand for this. It was still up
Oh,
before.
It was still up.
up
All
for,
right,
okay.
I didn't realize that. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
We do have some other people here.
But other people have. Inga, would you like to say something?
We have to unmute her.
I can't.
Okay. Ah,
So Inga, can you unmute yourself on your own screen?
there we go.
Oh, great. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, hi. Yeah, so this has been something I've been struggling with for, I'd say, probably the last couple of years, and it's just getting more and more intense to the point where I feel like I'm going to pop if I can't figure it out. And it has to do with, yeah, it's not a comfortable feeling at all, and it's starting to become more worrisome. And I can feel it. I've been sensing that it has so many different layers to it, and it is so big. So I totally get the whole tangle thing in this. And it has to do with the job that I've had for the last 7 years, and how it seems to be getting more and more complicated and uncomfortable for me to be there and to continue to be there. And I want to so desperately be somewhere else, and yet the dots don't seem to be connecting for me to make that move happen. So I don't have money in the bank to cover me if I have to go for a few months without work. So there's this fear of just completely free falling.
Mhm.
You know, so feeling like I should have something lined up before I let it go. But there's a part of me that goes, if you don't let it go soon, I'm just going to pop. I'm going to lose it somehow.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah,
tangle.
that
for
does
sure.
sound like a tangle, all right. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the
And
biggest.
notice that if we said, oh, well, just go ahead, go ahead, go for it. I mean, that would not be very helpful. In other words, at this level, the level you're at right now, which is really in the tangle, it feels like it's got to be a choice between one or the other.
Yeah.
And they feel like either or choices. They feel like opposites. I can either stay or I can, and it gets more and more unbearable. It's becoming, but I have to keep, or I can just let go, but that's unbearable too. In other words, the choices that are there are all impossible, but it also seems impossible not to make a choice. That is what tangles feel like. But we will never say to you, okay, then pick one. Like, it's
No.
not going to be picking.
Right.
It's not going to be like that. So what it's going to be has to do with shifting your relationship, shifting out of the tangle state, so that
Right.
those entangled parts of you can start to transform because you're having a relationship with them of empathy, deep empathy, we call it. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Really.
I
Okay.
look forward to helping you with it. Super.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's great. I really appreciate it. All right. And Debbie, did you also want to speak to us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
go
go
ahead.
right ahead.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Yeah, I picked one of your, well, I could answer something to every single of your bullet points on that, finding a looking
Mhm.
for a situation in life. The one that struck me the most was the one of finding something, or that something is impossible to believe. And
Mm.
yeah, and I'm 68, soon to be 69. I have an adult son, 32 years old, with autism, and frantic's not the right word, but it's like, oh my God, am I going to be able to get him situated in a long-term situation that will be okay, that will really support him before I die?
Yeah.
It's huge.
But it doesn't sound like a tangle yet. That just sounds
Ooh.
like a tough
Like
problem.
difficult.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think that that's not quite right, because I see so many things about actions that I should take, or things I could do, but it's like something in me thinks it won't make any difference.
Now it's sounding like a tangle. Okay, very
Mm.
good. All right.
It's
There you
it's
go.
big. It's big. It has something also to do with just me believing that I can take up space, that my needs, I think, can take up space and be legitimate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's got tangle kind of quality
That's
to
got
it.
tangle written all over it.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Debbie. Now, Becky, I see you raise your hand, but I also see your question in the chat. Maybe we can just answer it there. Does choosing a tangle with a bit less charge mean I'll be less likely to untangle? No. Start anywhere. Choose anything.
Yeah.
No big deal. Pick anything you want to.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody who shared in the chat. There you go. That helped, Becky. Okay, let's go on. I just want to take a moment right now before we do the longer exercise to talk a bit about the course that's coming up, because I know many people are curious about it. And I want to share a bit about it. Barbara?
Yeah.
I know you want to too.
Okay. Hit play.
All right. I will as soon as I find where we are.
Okay.
Okay.
It's only the next one there.
There we go. So
Okay.
our course is called Untangling an Introduction. We don't teach this very often. I think it's been, I don't know when was the last time. But
I think it was like February or something.
it was 7 months ago. We don't teach it all the time. We're about to teach it. And we're about to teach it at this time of day. So if you could be here on this call live, this is the time. It's going to start on October 2nd. I think that's a couple weeks from now. And on 5 Wednesdays and for 2 hours each time. And in that course, we're going to be talking about cultivating your resources of calm inner strength and self-compassion so that you don't feel stuck even if parts of you do. This is really the key to untangling. And we're also going to, do you want to do the next one, Barbara?
Sure. Okay. So one of the things is you can start to separate out, like we were just starting to do with Becky. Oh no, it wasn't Becky.
With Debbie.
Debbie.
Yeah.
And like there's this bit and there's that bit and there's that bit. And as you actually just go, oh, there's this and there's this and there's this, you will begin to feel more ease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the steps. We have actually different powers. That's the second power.
We have 5 powers.
Well,
5 powers.
That's so cool. We love our powers. So recognizing what we call protector parts that often masquerade as your thoughts, but these will be thoughts like, I can never solve this, or I'm completely stuck. Those kinds of thoughts, those are actually from parts of you that are in the tangle. They're characters in the drama of the tangle, and they're key actually, but you can have a relationship with them and they can start to shift. So that is super cool.
And the big thing is really about developing your capacity to be empathic and compassionate. And so the stuck and struggling parts in you get the kind of of relationship that they need so that they no longer grab you, so that they can let go and they can move, and it allows all sorts of new possibilities to emerge. And those possibilities are going to be really surprising. You're going to go, wow, I never would have thought of that.
We hear that
Not
all
in a
the
million
time.
years.
We hear that all the time.
Wow.
We love it. Yeah. Didn't think that would change.
And I didn't think it would change like that.
Yeah. So
Whoa.
basically, it's a 2-hour-a-week Zoom course. It's not like this. This is a webinar. It's a Zoom meeting where we get to see you if you feel like.
You'll be able to see everybody.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you
cool.
feel like showing
I
your
love that.
face, you can. But you could also call in by phone if that works better. And
Yeah.
each week we share the next step in the process. So 5 weeks, 5 steps, starting with getting to know your tangle. I do want to mention that it's an introduction to untangling, so it is not the whole method, but it is enough of the method so we predict you can feel some relief and release and go further from there.
Yeah.
And so each week there is an exercise that we take the whole class through, and we give you a PDF of the exercise and a way to do it with a partner if you are in a focusing partnership. And we're available. So during class, you can ask us all your questions, and by email between classes. We are both the teachers. We'll be there every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Go ahead. Do
I
this.
wanna say
I've got some chat stuff.
There's a coupon,
Yeah.
and it's a long coupon. It's untangling early, and doesn't matter if it's all capital letters or small letters or whatever. And that gives you 50% off. It gives you
$50 off.
$50 off. Oh, I keep doing that. $50 off.
I mean, 50% would really be.
That would be generous.
Just a tad.
I think so.
Good.
So
Just a tad.
$50 off, and
which is still pretty good.
it's a great deal. And the last day to register is September 25th, which I believe is a week from now. Yes, it is. And you just go to the website, focusingresources.com.
Okay.
So
now,
you're going to go and
chat stuff.
Talk about the chat. Okay.
Chat stuff.
And it's
Okay.
a great moment to ask us questions if you want to about the class.
About the class, do you have to have studied level 1 focusing to do this intro course?
No.
And the answer is no.
Not at all. It's open to anyone.
Andrea asks, during the course, do you pair us up with a partner if we would like one? We don't actually do it. If you want to pair up with somebody, that is totally fabulous. And you could pair up with anybody in the course. You could ask in the course, I would like to have a partner who would like to partner with me, that kind of thing.
And some people are already doing that.
Okay, is this $50 off for those who didn't register early?
This is the early registration price. So it's gone up $50 more because we've passed the early registration price. So this coupon will give you the early registration
price.
Yes. And another person asked, okay, right.
And Lily is going to be on it. She's already enrolled.
Yay, Lily. Yay, Lily. Yeah.
And we will get to saying more about what we mean by going deep.
Yeah, let's come back to that later. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you for those questions. Now let's do an actual exercise for you.
Okay. So
let's take this a little further. And this is one of these go ahead and close your eyes exercises. So inviting you to settle in to your body and be aware, more and more aware of your body contact right now. Slowing down, feeling your breathing. And letting awareness come inward, so you're sensing the inner area of your body, including your throat, your chest, your stomach and belly. And just arriving within yourself. Feeling your grounding, feeling your support. And taking some time to sense where in your body you're feeling kind of good right now, like peaceful, relaxed, open, curious. Even if it's just a little bit, even if it's not the only way you feel. And in the inner area of your body, your throat and chest and stomach, you may want to say the words, I am here. I am here. And now remember your tangle. Just whatever occurred to you, maybe earlier today in the earlier exercise, might be your tangle, might be your starting place. If there's several of them, it doesn't really matter which one. Places where something was impossible. Let's just pick one and say, okay, there it is. That's my tangle for today. I can always come back and repeat this exercise with the other ones. Now we're going to give you 3 questions to ask in your tangle. These are exploratory questions. They're just ways of getting to know it better. And the first one is, in this tangle, is there something in me saying, I should, I have to, I need to, or I should not? Just recognizing, is this what's going on? I'm going to say it again. In this tangle, is there something in me telling me I should something? I have to something, I need, or I should not something? And just notice, we're not telling you to think more about that or solve it or fix it, just notice. Maybe make a note of it. What is it telling me I should or should not? Something in this tangle. Okay, the second question. Is there something in my tangle resisting or avoiding being told what to do? Or maybe just resisting or avoiding something. Do I feel somewhere in my tangle something resisting or avoiding being told what to do? Or maybe just resisting or avoiding something. And whatever comes is fine. Yeah, you may need more time. You may want to make a note to come back later. Or maybe lots of things came and you just want to write down a few of them. It's all good. These are like assessment questions. They're exploratory questions. Here's number 3. How does it feel in your body right now? So noticing what has come in your body since remembering your tangle, since exploring the should and should not, and the resisting and avoiding, noticing how your body is feeling now. If it's uncomfortable, that's okay. But take a moment to describe it and see if it's okay to stay with how it feels a while. Remember, you said the words at the beginning, I am here. And so the big I, self and presence, you can be with uncomfortable feelings in your body if you have them. I am being with that. Okay. Now, we didn't expect that feeling to change. It might still be there, but let's go on anyway. Because allowing our body feelings to be how they are is going to be one of the key parts of the process. They change when they're ready. So the next step is to make a sentence that expresses all this. And that sentence would start with, I am sensing something in me that da da da. And I am sensing something in me da da da. And it feels this way in my body. And I am here with all of that. Let me give you an example. Try it out with your own. Like, I'm sensing something in me that says I should not be scared. And I'm sensing something in me that resists being told how to feel. And in my body, there is a scared feeling. And I am here with all of that. So taking your time to notice, what difference did it make? What difference did it make to say that sentence? Does that feel like it brings some kind of change?
And we'd love to hear from you. So if anybody wants to share how that went, how that was for you, please let us know, either in the chat or by raising your hand. Okay. Becky.
Hi, Becky.
Go ahead.
You know how this works.
Okay. I am sensing something in me that says I should keep my house clean and decluttered. And I am sensing something in me that feels like this is hopeless and unending. And I am here with all of this.
Excellent.
Great. And how is that to say it like that?
Well, I just kind of read it. I really haven't quite comprehended all of it. So I kind of have to try it out a little bit more.
Some people notice a difference from the sentence itself with the and in it. I'm going to show folks the sentence again. Let's see. Oh, great. Here we go. Just a second. Whoops, sorry. I just goofed up. I'm so excited. Here we go. Here's our sentence again. I'm sensing something in me, da da da. So fill in your blank. And I'm sensing something in me, da da da. And I'm sensing this feels in my body. And I am here with all of that. And yes, you will get these slides. Let's see. And so what one of our points here is that the word "and" can have a very powerful effect because it lets us hold each element separately. Okay. Let's see. Let me let Becky go back to the audience. And Inga wrote, oh my gosh. This is Inga who told us earlier how awful her tangle felt. All of a sudden, the tangle seems so much smaller and more spacious and less dense, and there's a sense of peace around it as well, and not the stress and confusion. Inga,
Well.
you're going to be our new poster child. And Haja writes, describing the arena to myself made it clearer. And I am here with that, makes it simpler and less scary.
Brilliant.
That's right. Very nice. Very nice.
Michael wants to say something. Okay.
Would you like to talk? Go right ahead.
Hi, I'm sensing a self-undermining part in my life, and I'm sensing it in.
Oh.
Sorry.
You just try that again.
I was just, Michael.
You're getting too excited. Just calm down. Calm down. Breathe.
Michael, come back.
Breathe.
I was trying to lower the hand, and instead I dumped you off. Please go ahead.
I'm back. Sorry.
You're back.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sensing a self-undermining part within me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sensing this part wants to stop my life, so I give it attention, and I'm sensing this part also doesn't want attention, and I feel okay when I just accept all of these different parts of me. It feels a bit clearer when I just accept they're all coexisting.
Okay. A step.
That's nice. There's a step there. Thank you, Michael. That's great that you shared that with us. Thank you so much. William writes, I feel overwhelmed by the feeling in my body and thoughts of, I don't want this, I don't want to be here, even this class. I did remember the do and don't parts, and that was helpful to be with the feelings and thoughts. Yeah, now I think it's important that we say that we are not saying this is easy.
Yeah.
It's nice that some people got like a big, nice, peaceful feeling, but we didn't expect that to happen with everybody. We were hoping that everybody would feel some kind of difference.
Mm-hmm.
And tangles are tough.
And I'm going to suggest something, William. You say, I feel overwhelmed by the feeling in my body. And how about you say, I am sensing something in me that feels overwhelmed by the feeling in my body. And just notice if that makes any kind of a difference as well. So it's very easy to be, because it's in your body, it feels like you. But just give it a go. Just try it. I am sensing something in me feels overwhelmed by the feeling in my body.
He's telling us that he did it.
Sensing a part was also helpful. Yes. Okay, great. Okay. Fantastic.
Very good. So, yeah, Becky is saying she missed the middle part. Yeah. Well, you know, there's as many parts of the sentence as you have parts in
as you need. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Very good.
So it can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And you might include, and I'm sensing something in me feels like there's way too many parts here. That's a really useful one to
But, you know,
add in.
I love that. And I also really want to let everybody know, and actually this is the weekly tip that I sent today, which is there's pretty much always a part that feels hopeless about the tangle ever shifting, because it's probably been a long time that it hasn't. And there's a part of you that really doesn't want you to have to suffer anymore. And so it thinks that if you give up, things will be better. No, you know, I mean, if that would have helped, it would have helped already. But to recognize that the thought, this isn't going to change, this is hopeless, is a part of the tangle. You can say, and something in me says or thinks or believes that this will never change. It's another part.
Right.
Evie writes, I'm sensing something in me that's going spaced out in intimate relationships. Okay, first part. And something in me says this will cost me to be alone. Okay. See this? Yeah. Which shall I do? Shall I go toward intimate relationships? Shall I go toward being alone? It's one of those impossible choices. And this feels like an iron fence in my body. Okay, so you got the body part too. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this is a step. It's not the whole method. In fact, it's only a little taste of the method.
Of 2 bits of it.
2 bits of the method. Yeah. That, and Lily's agreeing with what I said, that something in me feels this is all hopeless. Something in me feels there's something wrong with me and that I'm bad. So that might also be a component in any tangle. It must be that there's something wrong with me. I'm defective. I'm damaged. So one of the things we often say to people is, you can be with the parts of you without agreeing or disagreeing with them. Well, we're almost done. Let's take another moment just to remind people of our offer, which is, here we are, Untangling Early, $50 off. Last day to register is 1 week from now. You know, we have had such fun with you today. Many of you shared. We know many more of you did not. We would love to have all of you join us in the class. We have room for you. That would be so great.
So great.
So great. Because it would, it's what makes our life really fulfilled and happy. If we can help people feel some of the shifts that we've been able to feel. And let's see now. Yes.
There you go.
There we go. Yes.
And Chuck asks, what is the cost?
With the $50 discount, it's $260. And I hope you just come on over to the Focusing Resources website. This is the website, and look in the workshop calendar, and you'll see it there. And wow, it's been so lovely. Thank you for your participation and your presence here. Yes,
been great.
Wonderful, wonderful. And if we didn't get to answer your questions, you can email it to us. Very good.
Sure.
Very good. All right. Oh, and the recording will be coming in the mail tomorrow. You can share it with other people.
And
it'll repeat the discount again.
And the slides.
We'll put the slides in there too, definitely. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Barbara, you'll have to close it because you're the host.